Alrighty guys, we're back for Big Is It Artifacts, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction Standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the list, then hop right into some ranked. We got Simulacrum Synthesizer. This is a 3-mana artifact. The ETBs you scry 2. Okay. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Yep, that seems powerful, and we've actually been seeing this on Arena already in like Azorius builds and stuff, so I gotta try out Is It with it. So what kind of cards work well with Synthesizer? Well, we have a whole bunch of 3 mana or greater cards, like all 4 Thran Spiders, for example, giving a Power Stone token to you and your opponent. Hopefully it does a lot more for you than it does for the opponent. We have Celestus in here as well. We have Everflowing Well to replenish our hand nicely, hopefully. And then we have Detective's Satchel here too. It's a 4 mana artifact. I'm going to ETBs you investigate twice, which could be really neat to buff up those constructs that you have on the board too, because that's 3 artifacts for the price of 1. Rocking a Tezzeret here too. I think Tezzeret's just going to do a lot for us in general, but it's another way to kind of restock our hand in this build. You have Transmutation Font. So this is a 5 mana artifact. You can tap it to create your choice of a blood token, clue token, or food token. That's neat. For 3, you can tap this, sacrifice 3 artifact tokens with different names, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle, activate only as a sorcery. That could be really neat to grab some of these top-end artifacts. Literally, even if it's also just another 5 mana thing too, like Mightstone, Weakstone, for example, another way to restock our hand beautifully, but also just really, really good artifact ramp. So we have Karn, Legacy Reforged. Here's ones we don't get to see too often. So this is a 5 mana legendary artifact creature, and its power and toughness are each equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. So at the very least, it's a 5/5, so that's pretty neat. At the beginning of your upkeep, you add a colorless mana for each artifact you control. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells until end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. That's a pretty cool ability, man. So it could be really cheap to go ahead and get some of this other top end on the board, which is going to be pretty important, honestly. So we have a couple Portal to Phyrexia, really just kind of in here acting as a board wipe as each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures on this ETB. But then also at the beginning of your upkeep, of course, you put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's also a Phyrexian, so steal stuff from your opponent's grave. That's great. There's not too many creatures in here that we want to bring back from the grave. Well, with the portal at least, because we also have Cityscape Leveler, which has the Unearth for 8 mana. Just great removal packed onto the card. We have Nexus of Becoming, a whole bunch of new cards in here, huh? There's also it's a 6 mana artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you draw a card. Then you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand. If you do, you create a token that's a copy of the exiled card, except it's a 3/3 golem artifact creature in addition to its other types. That works really well with a lot of these ETB effects, right? Get rid of a portal out of your hand. Now portal's a 3/3 and that ETB goes off. Same concept with like Detective Satchel, right? All of this obviously pairing beautifully with that synthesizer. Once we have synthesizer on the board, all of this top end artifact is going to just be extra little constructs that we're just pooping onto the board from the synthesizer. Also rocking the Inner Sun here, because I think that Discover ability is going to be really good, but then also spells you control can't be countered. I think it's totally going to be worth a 1-of. Early ramp with cards like Buried Treasure, and I do think that Discover 5, having this in the grave, spending 5 mana to exile it from your graveyard, Discover 5, activate only as a sorcerer. I think that's actually just going to be really good in here, because all of our extra power stones and everything can also be spent to activate that 5/2. So like Mightstone, Weakstone, already putting 2 mana towards that Discover 5. And then there's just so many great things that we wouldn't mind discovering. Like multiple synthesizers on the board, it's just going to end the game really, really fast. And we also have Legion Extruder here. This is a 2 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, deals 2 damage to any target. So a little bit of early removal, which we're probably going to need, right? And then the bottom ability is 2 mana. You tap this, sacrifice another artifact, create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. Cool. Also rocking some candy trails. That life gain goes the extra mile, but also scrying too in a build like this is going to be pretty important. A whole bunch of utility land packed in. We got a blast zone. We have this brand spanking new vault. We have a couple Hall of Tagsin, a couple Mirrex. We have a scene of the crime because it's an artifact land. We also have a couple of Mycosynth Gardens too, because it could be pretty sick to go ahead and copy that synthesizer. Again, just having multiple of these on the board, probably going to be pretty good. Do have a Restless Spire, Crucible of Defiance, and then Soaring City packed in, leading a little bit towards blue, but a lot of the deck is actually just colorless anyways, so. Okay, guys, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Dude, I have no clue. I do know one thing, like that synthesizer's seeing play for a really good reason. Like, I want it to be good. We don't have a lot of early removal packed in, though. I know, and like, mono red's running everything over. Okay. I see nothing wrong with this hand. Oh, we should have 26 total mana, by the way, so it should be enough, hopefully. All right, we'll start with the Reef. Cabaret Courtyard, huh? Okay, okay. Very likely some Teamer ramp here. Yep, Spire is going to come out tapped. That would have been much better for turn 1. We're going to go Buried Treasure. Try to use that Legion Extruder for removal. It doesn't hit too much in Teamer ramp, though. Actually, I don't know what 2 damage does hit. Yeah, Buried Treasure, we can argue that this is probably a janky pick. There's just like, I got like this gut feeling about that Discover 5 for this build. Okay, so we'll get Restless Spire down. We'll go Buried Treasure. Just like, that's it. That's it. But both of us allowing each other a little bit of early setup here. Oh, they go untap source. Probably Nissa then, right? Uh-oh, uh-oh. They're going to keep this open? Oh, I don't know if Teamer ramp runs counter spells. Countering the Mightstone Weakstone before the draw would be so bad for us. Soaring City, you're going to have to come down as land because I don't want to pop both of these treasures just for the Mightstone Weakstone, although the Scry could be interesting on this too. What could this be, guys? Well, I guess we'll find out if their version of Teamer Ramp has counter spells in it. Let's do this. Oh, it lands. All right. So draw 2. All right, let's get that Scry. Yeah, extra mana isn't great, but that's fine. Okay, Everflowing Well, Celestus. All of this seems great. But I'm going to send the Celestus is really good, but right now I'm not convinced by it. That makes sense. We're just going to go for more draw power on the well. We have 1, 2. Could have gotten the... No. I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to wait to pop that treasure again. Even though we got plenty of mana right now, I just feel like... I feel like using that and using the extra on the Mightstone Weakstone just to get Extruder down. Maybe I'd rather use the treasure to create a 3/3 Golem instead, you know? Okay, so we do have Buried Treasure. We have a lot here. Yeah. We have a lot here. You know what? First proof of concept. I'm sitting here talking about the Buried Treasure and why I have a gut feeling that is good. For this build in particular, Tezzeret's great, man. I don't mind that at all. I could power up the Candy Trail. That wouldn't be terrible. Everflowing Well is still open with the Buried Treasure. Okay. Power up that Candy Trail. Let's do this. It's probably going to be Everflowing Well for the turn then. Yeah, the reason we want to start powering up here is because if you let Teamer ramp go for too long, they do get out of hand very fast. Like after a certain point, after like the midway point. Wow, Fires of Victory. that's a great addition, opponent. That is a perfect addition. I really like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll have 9 next turn for Portal if that's what we want to do. So instead of Everflowing Well, I am just going to get the Legion Extruder down. Like I said, 2 mana doesn't hit, or 2 damage doesn't hit too much anyways, so just get that down and established, and maybe have 9 for the Portal next turn then, by keeping that treasure back. Tezzeret, we're probably going to start drawing off of Tezzeret, because just keeping this around is going to be much better than just going -2 and losing it next turn. Depending on how long we can keep it around, maybe we'll get the -6. Probably not. But it's an emblem. Oh, World Soul's Rage on the Tezzeret. Poor little buddy. Why does it say we have the Legion Extruder open? Oh, because when Tezzeret's on the board, we get the first one for free. Okay, well, there's no... That's right. I was completely looking over the passive ability on Tezzeret there. But we didn't have an artifact that we wanted to sacrifice there anyways, because we want the portal. But now, like, the opponent doesn't have anything. Establishing the portal could still be good. Maybe... Okay, mana off the top. So we start with Everflowing Well then. Portal to Phyrexia, not doing too much here. Maybe we want Buried Treasure. Maybe we want to use this now. That way we have it in the grave. So I'll use this. Because maybe we'll use the Discover then, too, right? But I'm going to start with the draw on the Everflowing Well. There's a lot going on so far, guys. Okay, Mirrex. So maybe I should have waited to play the land then, right? At that point, just using Buried Treasure. Only have 1 open. Yeah, let's see what we see. Discover 5. It is activate only as a sorcery too. Ooh, that's pretty good. I like that. And that is instant speed, so I'll wait to do that on their turn. We don't have 2 mana open for the Extruder anyways. That would have been really good if we were able to keep the Tezzeret around. Yeah, this is going to be potentially back and forth, but at any point, I think they can run away with this. I guess similar concept to us, though. So on that turn, we could have played Buried Treasure and used this on the same turn, too, to get it into the grave. Okay, basics now tap for triple, so Nissa could come down for the turn. It is going to be Nissa. Yep. So what do I want here? Blood token or... Dude wouldn't be... I guess Clue for draw? I guess Clue. Probably going to start sacrificing it to the Extruder anyways. Interesting. Mycosynth Garden, getting that down could be good. There's a lot going on here, dude. Don't forget we could get Power Stone on the Hall. So it's probably going to be Mycosynth Gardens for the turn. We can go Portal and then start taking stuff from the opponent that way. If we don't, well, we could die to a World Soul's Rage next turn anyways, right? So I guess it's best to make sure the Nissa dies, I guess. Either way, World Soul's Rage wraps the game up, as well as a Hydra off the top too, now that they've established the Virtue of Strength. So was there anything we could have done to the Virtue of Strength? Ill-timed Explosion. Find what they need to find, right? And there's not going to be a great way for us to deal a significant amount of damage for the next couple turns. I wonder why they went for the discard there. Because you don't have to discard on Ill-timed Explosion. So I wonder why they did that. They didn't want land in their hand? Oh, they want to bring the land back from the grave when it comes time. I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah, with Virtue of Strength on the board, it's just a matter of them seeing the big cards that they can pay X for. Timed Explosion, yeah. Yeah, at any point here, though, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15, so I guess Not yet, right? It would be next turn that we would end up dying. They still go for the discard on the ill-timed explosion. Interesting. Maybe wait. I'm not thinking of the wrong card, am I? I don't think I am. I'm gonna go blood token this time, because having different name tokens on the board is important. And this is the only creature to bring back right now. Yeah, ill-timed explosion. Draw 2 cards, then you may discard 2 cards. So maybe they just want stuff in the grave, right? There might be something in their deck that I'm not thinking about. Are we going to be able to hit this Nissa from their grave? Oh, Shigeki. Oh, very nice. Okay. Oh, that brings the World Soul back, doesn't it? Yeah, it totally does. Okay. Oh. Wait, what did they end up targeting there? Return. Oh, non-legendary cards. Man. Man, everything does so much all the time. So what, we'll add anything here, but just like a red source is fine. So, oh, Cityscape Leveler. Dude, what a good draw. They still have 3 mana open, but we got to pop that Virtue of Strength. No matter what, I don't even think we even want to consider other possibilities here. We want to play this Cityscape Leveler. Destroy that Virtue of Strength right here, right now. Fires, kill the Nissa. Draw a card off the fires. Yeah, they want to tap all that down while they have the Virtue. That's great, man. That's really good. So at this point, there's so much on the board, guys. I really should have practiced with this list. There's so much. Okay, so we have the Extruder's ability for their turn. So I'm gonna play the Buried Treasure because we can always activate the Buried Treasure, then have it in the grave for next turn as well. And we still have, yeah, we still have the 2. We still have the Transmutation. Okay. Okay. So we pass it back and we are not dead because now World Soul's Rage doesn't do like 40 damage. But it still ramps them pretty significantly here and gains them a lot of life. So they do X is 6. It doesn't hit Leveler, luckily. So I suppose, oh, Nissa must, they must have thought about that after playing the land. Memory Deluge. Okay. So when we attack, we pop the Nissa. They get 2 to hand. GG opponent. Yeah, at that point, we had so much setup. Honestly, like, sometimes I'm like, oh no, I would have loved to play that out. But no, thank goodness the opponent dropped the concede. Because there's just like, where did I even want to start? Like, I guess the first thing was attack with Cityscape Leveler. Pop the Nissa. They get that extra Power Stone token, but that's fine. At the end of their turn, we were going to generate a 3/3. That would have popped the treasure, the Buried Treasure. So this was going to the grave, so we would have had the 5 Discover 5 as well. Transmutation for 3 mana, sacrifice the 3. So this was going to generate a food, and then we could sacrifice Clue, Blood, and Food. Search your library for an artifact and just slam it onto the battlefield, so that was going to be really good too. Mycosynth Gardens. The best thing to copy would have probably been the Transmutation Font, right? Just to be able to dump more tokens on the board whenever we wanted them. Not really sure, but I know one thing for sure. The Cityscape Leveler came at the perfect time. Yeah, no matter what, we needed to make sure we got rid of that Virtue, and that was the way through. Yeah, being able to destroy any non-land permanent with that Leveler, like, yeah. There's a reason we got 2 of them on the top end, huh? Now that's only on a cast and only from an attack too. So if we would have grabbed it from the grave with that transmutation. Okay, opponent goes first. We're going to give this a shot for sure. Yeah, if we would have grabbed it or yeah, grabbed it from the deck with that transmutation, then we wouldn't have been able to pop the Virtue. So just like seeing it off the top there was so good. Oh, Synthesizer's out of the equation. No doubt in my mind. So we'll get to keep our turn 2 ramp with the treasure, but like that's nothing compared to this. Yeah, the Synthesizer is just is just so good. Other than that, really good ramp in hand here. Ramp right into that Nexus of Becoming in no time. Liberator, nice. Nice, Liberator's a problem. That's a big problem. All right. I know one thing, we don't want it to be nighttime. When Liberator flips, it gets gross, dude. Frenzied Trapbreaker is just like whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Oh, they go ahead and just get rid of the Thran Spider. Thran Spider has reach. I guess they wanted to continue to swing with the Deep Cavern Bat. Sunslayer. It's good that this is gone. It's yeah, it's good to see Liberator in the grave, but that might mean they have a second one. All right, let's do this. Nexus of Becoming. 2 turns too soon, I'd say. So at this point, Cityscape Leveler, it's the same thing. If you cast this spell, we'd still have to attack it. So I think it's going to be Thran Spider and try to cast the Leveler when it comes time. 1, 2, 3. We're really close to just casting out Leveler. Against Golgari, like Terra Sunder exists too. Yeah, Terra Sunder, right on time. So losing Nexus isn't too bad. We're going to take the 3. Because we still got a little bit of value from it by making sure we actually had the 3/3 Thran Spider too. It's just not bad, is it? Buried Treasure can still find us some goodies. When Glissa gets through, oh, it is going to be another Liberator. Dude, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be a really, really tough match. So Mirrex can come down for the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll still have 5. So we go Celestus and then Buried Treasure from the grave. Telling you guys, man, this Discover 5 on the Buried Treasure, this kind of seems wild in a build like this. But we'll see if it can continue to do a thing too. A little bit of extra ramp on the Buried Treasure isn't too bad as long as we see more off the top that isn't land. Yeah, with Discover being random, of course, like hitting some of the smaller things could be bad. For Liberator, they want to hit Celestus, I would say. But the 3/3 might be a good option for them too, because then they could start swinging with the Cavern Bat again. Maybe. It was Celestus. That makes sense to me as well. Since Glissa has that first strike death touch, it's not a great blocker. All the artifacts in here get around Go for the Throat nicely, which is probably their main spot removal since they have double Outland Liberator already and a Terra Sunder. That deals with the artifacts. Sheoldred's Edict. Okay. So number 1, get rid of Cityscape Leveler. Dude, I'm mixing up all my cards today. This is only my 3rd recording for the evening, and since the very beginning, I've just been saying the wrong card names this whole time. Step 1 is play Cityscape Leveler, and then remove... Well, we'll get the Reef down. Glissa would still be good to remove. Oh, Mightstone, Weakstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we use the Buried Treasure, we will have... So we have -2. Play the Simulacrum Synthesizer. I'm going to use the Buried Treasure to get it into the grave. They dropped the GGs. That's not very nice, opponent. That's not very nice. Check out my green source. Now that should be scary right there. So we'll go -5, -5. We'll pop the bat and get the Simulacrum Synthesizer to hand. Now we do have the 5 for the Buried Treasure if we want to discover. They still drop the GGs. Actually, now I'm concerned. Now I'm getting a little concerned that they have the damage that they need next turn. Okay, there we go, there we go. Thran Spider. Okay, so we have a blocker now. So they'd have to spend mana to remove the blocker and still get 11 through somehow. Obliterator gets picked up by Leveler. They swing for 3, and we go no blocks for now. Down to 8. We hopefully have 11 on the board here. We do, we have 11. So we go Synthesizer. And... oh, Portal to Phyrexia, dude. We want that on top for sure. For sure, man. Woohoo! Yeah, send the candy trail. Obliterator. Goes bye-bye. Get another 8-8. All those block really well. The Sunslayer is still a problem. Yeah, we'll keep all that back. Obliterator number 2 shouldn't be too much of an issue as long as like we can actually remove with the Leveler and have them sacrifice all their creatures on the portal. Swing for 8. I think we chump. Oh, they pass it back. They pass it back, dude. Okay. Well, we start with Portal to Phyrexia then for sure. We're removing everything. Everything. It's all going. Actually, we have lethal on this board. We have lethal, guys. Oh my goodness. We play Candy Trail. That buffs this to 11. They get the adventure there. We swing and we take out the Sunslayer. To the bottom, to the bottom. That's 21 damage. Good game, opponent. GG. Hey, maybe they were dropping the GG for us that whole time, right? Maybe they knew we were about to pull that back. That's very possible. You never know. That was good stuff. Holy cow. Holy cow. There's a lot going on in this build. There's a lot to think about. So far, so good, though, right? I think I'm playing it out relatively decent, I would say. I can't complain too much from what I can see. You guys can always let me know in the comments if you saw some better paths. All right, right into the next game, too. This is a pretty fun one, too. There's a lot going on. Like, how fun was that last game? That was really good. That was good stuff. All right. All right, so how many turns do you suppose we have at this point? All right, we'll give this a shot. But with the opponent going first, Soaring City is probably going to be utility. Oh, buddy, we got to go, go, go. So Vault not doing too much here. Let's just get the island down. More mana off the top isn't great. There's not a lot going on in the early game of this build anyways. If we mulliganed, we would have been looking for like maybe early ramp, maybe like Thran Spider or something for our turn 3 to make sure we can block in the air or something too. And that also ramps us into the later stuff as well. Scamp number 2 and Monstrous Rage for the turn. I'll tell you what, if it was Monstrous Rage, would they go for the sacrifice? I think so. Just maximize the amount of damage going through since they have a second scamp too. Scene of the Crime enters tapped, so we probably want to get that down now. Although we have so much mana anyways. Red Source next turn. We don't have Soaring City. Getting Blast Zone down this turn also doesn't do anything for us quite yet. Because that would be 3 in a tap, so that would be turn 4 to activate the Blast Zone ability. To take care of their 1-drops, and their 1-drops happen to be dealing extra damage to us anyways. Forge coming down for the turn 2, guys. Okay, 3 coming through. That could have been much worse. Mana off the top would not be great. They go for the sacrifice on the scamps. For the proliferate on the Forge. So Soaring City on the Forge is going to be really, really good for us, but they're still going to get a great swing here. Oh, they only sacrificed the 1 scamp. Okay, okay. That does make sense then. So for the turn, we're going to go Synthesizer, because we could see... an artifact that gets us a good blocker for the turn, right? Blast Zone can still come down next turn successfully. Okay, so Mountain Simulacrum Synthesizer. Try 2. We don't need the land, I know that much. Transmutation Font, a 5 mana card. Having more artifacts that do a thing, but not for 2 turns. Mightstone, Weakstone, probably going to be removal. I think we send it. I think that's too slow for what we're seeing right now. But at the same time, that could be a mistake, as we might actually have a couple turns. Soaring. So, like, next turn, it's either Blast Zone or Soaring City, and I'm pretty sure it's Soaring City on the Forge to slow that down a little bit. It's good tempo, and they'll have to pay 3 mana for it again. Turn 5, Mightstone, Weakstone's probably removal. Oh, no. A second Forge might be the nail in the coffin as they proliferate here. For sure, right? Like, no doubt in my mind, doubling down on the tokens. Oh, they don't. They don't. I'm surprised, dude. That would have been 2 extra damage next turn and, like, getting the ball rolling on the Forge. Okay, Everflowing Well. Okay, so Blast Zone, putting X counters, that's just going to take too long. We're at 8 right now. So very, very slow. So they'll have the Soaring City play on one of the Forge. That's just not great, is it? Let's get a 2/2 chump blocker down. Red source open is fine, but I kind of want the blue source open instead. Wait a minute. I only have 1 blue source. Oh. Oh, okay. No, that works too. Red source open's fine. That's just, that comes down to how I actually played that out instead of, well, one, we needed to keep the Soaring City as utility there too, but. So 4/4, because we have, so it gets +1/+1 for each artifact. So we have 1 with the synthesizer, 2 with the flow, and then in and of itself, it's a construct. And then we also have Scene of the Crime. So a little bit of ramp here. Yeah, now, if Synthesizer can survive, like if they don't drop an Abrade this turn, we might be able to start pulling this back a little bit. So for the Vault, it just taps for a colorless, and then for 3, you can tap it, discard a card, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put 1 of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's a little interesting, right? It's kind of neat. You trade out a card in your hand. You're actually peering pretty far into the build if you have a lot of artifacts on the board. And then grabbing what you need. Now, it does cost a lot, but you get to use like your Power Stone tokens, as well as like Mightstone, Weakstone to activate that too. I think it's a neat one of. Is it worth the mythic rare? No, probably not. This deck was very expensive, guys. It was actually like the 2nd or 3rd deck I put together for the new set. And I had to wait. Uh-oh, they used all their timers. Oh no. Oh no, opponent. No, come back, opponent. Oh no, I really want to play this out. No. Okay, well, I'll get the Vault down, I suppose. Have that on the board, and I guess the opponent might not be showing up here, guys. Well, I was gonna go Celestus for some reason, but no, we just want to go Mightstone, Weakstone, hit the Scamp while we're here. We get another construct on the board too, and we're just gonna keep them on the board because we need blockers against the Forge. But unfortunately, the opponent has left the building, and my bet is that they froze, because I don't think that they would have just like. I don't think they would have just left with this board state. The double Forge is just like so good. Ah, man. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and pause to see what happens here. Okay, while the opponent didn't show up, I thought we'd still show the synthesizer activating and everything here. We'll go -5/-5 on the Scamp to be as safe as possible instead of drawing. And then the Scamp's ability targets face. Wait. Did they target us that fast? Wait, is the opponent back? Or does it just auto-target when they're not here? Well, that wouldn't make much sense though, right? When it dies, deals damage equal to its power to any target. Guys, is the opponent here, but like not here? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the next time the timer runs down, I think it will auto concede too. So let's see what happens. Yeah, unfortunately, the opponent did not arrive. GG opponent. I think that would have been a great back and forth, right? Once we started establishing here, we had a good chance of starting to pull back, but like mono red's mono red. So like burn exists. So I think we really would have been sweating for a while there, like turn after turn, just a sweating until we start like establishing more and then trying to go for that lethal damage on the constructs, which I think would have been relatively possible as we were getting some pretty good artifacts there too. Everything felt fine. That was a lot of land that time around. That definitely felt like we had 29 land instead of 26, but our land, like there's a lot of utility packed into the land and everything too. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go over the deck one more time. That actually felt pretty good, but is it worth the craft? Honestly, probably not, because everything's so expensive in here and we're still pretty early into like this new format too, and we don't exactly know where the meta is going to land just yet. And like there's still a lot of mono red, which I still think is going to run over this deck in those early turns a lot of the time as well. I'd still put it on the do not craft list, but my honest opinion about the list is I actually think there's a lot of power packed in. I think it might actually be good, but we might need to rearrange some things based on what we're seeing on the ladder. And what would I rearrange if we're seeing more mono red? I'm not even sure if we would want more of the Legion Extruders, even though that's our early removal. You want as many like top end artifacts as possible to work with the synthesizer. A lot of these one-ofs felt pretty good too. Like we have like a beautiful variety, the Everflowing Well, Celestus, Transmutation Font, Inner Sun, Nexus of Becoming, Karn, just like the one-ofs, the Detective Satchel, the Tezzeret. I like that. We have just like a whole bunch of extra utility packed in for a lot of different scenarios. And I'm sitting there wondering what we could do to take out enchantments in that one game. And then, of course, yeah, Cityscape Leveler, dude, yeah. When you cast this spell and whenever it attacks, you destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Now, do we want more of these? Maybe, but it does not work as we saw with Nexus of Becoming, of course, right? Because you have to cast the Leveler, and it doesn't have haste either. And Nexus of Becoming doesn't give it haste, so so like, you know, but there's still a lot of other really cool stuff to hit with the Nexus of Becoming, like Portal, or literally just anything else, right? Anything that doesn't say that you have to cast it to get the ETB. Everflowing Well has that whole mill 2 cards, and you don't mind milling away a Cityscape Leveler because the Unearth comes out eventually. When you do unearth it, it does get haste as well. So you'll get that swing. You won't get the cast ability, but you'll get the swing, and you'll still be able to destroy something, a target non-land permanent. So yeah, definitely still worth the 2 of. Same concept with the Cityscape Leveler too. You're not going to be cheating it out onto the board with the Transmutation Font. Well, you might still want to grab a big creature, I suppose. That's possible, but more often than not with the Transmutation Font, you're probably grabbing some of this other stuff like the Inner Sun. With at the beginning of your end step, you discover 5 is disgusting. Whenever you're discovering 5 off of this or Buried Treasure or anything, the Mightstone and Weakstone is just going to be perfect to hit almost in any scenario, because there's always like a creature that you need to remove. And then there's always moments where you need to restock your hand as well. So it's going to be a perfect 4 of. Who cares if it's legendary? Just keep one on the board and get rid of the other one. Easy peasy. Also, they cast into themselves too. So if you had one untapped already, you can tap the first one for the 2, play the second one with 3 of your other land and whatnot. So you're like ramping into the second Mightstone Weakstone. So, and still getting that awesome ability as well. And then still being able to use the mana on the Mightstone Weakstone. So yeah, justifying 4 of these. I don't think it needs justified. I think that's what a lot of these artifact style builds have been running anyways. Well, when it came to Izzet and like big red artifacts too. Well, at least that's what I've been doing, right? But yeah, Tezzeret felt fine for the build. Don't forget about the top ability on Tezzeret, just the passive ability. First activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. That's probably important. Does that include... This is activated ability of an artifact you activate, so it doesn't have to be you control. That should include the exile ability on the buried treasure too, right? 3 mana from the grave. I think that's how that would work, since this is still an activated ability of an artifact. And Tezzeret doesn't read that you have to control it, just that you have to activate it. Okay. And then that also makes like Legion Extruder free too. And what are you popping with the Extruder to be happy to get those golems? Like the Candy Trails. If you're not drawing or gaining life off of Candy Trail, that's pretty good to pop for a 3/3 golem. But also like the tokens off the Transmutation Font or the Power Stone tokens off the Thran Spider. The same things that you'd be powering up with the -2 on the Tezzeret is a very similar concept to what you're powering up with the Legion Extruder. Okay. Scene of the Crime, extra power up on the artifact land is pretty sick, but it is a tapped land. Outside of that, the other tapped lands, there's not too many. That's it. Right? Yeah. Of course, the dual lands have the potential of coming out tapped for the Stormcarved Coast, but other than that, I think it worked out nicely, right? Yeah, all the extra utility in the mana base was pretty sick overall. Pretty fun list. What else do I have to say about it? I think that's it. I don't think I'm going to change anything with it right now. It's kind of like I said, we'd have to build around it based on where the meta's settling. It seems like it's settling around Slickshot. But honestly, dude, you just never know. Like all of a sudden everyone builds around Slickshot and no one can pull off an explosive thing with Slickshot because like everyone's building around it. Then like the meta like starts to sway back and forth and you just like never know where it lands. So until it lands, like this is just excessively expensive. The amount of mythics in here is kind of gross, right? Like what do we got? Let's see. A Legion Extruder, Synthesizer. That's a rare, that's a rare, that's a rare. Tezzeret. And don't forget, we have rotation coming up not too long, I think. I think rotation is in August, but please do not quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain. I just know it's coming up sometime relatively soon. So we have Transmutation Font as a mythic. This is a rare. Karn is a mythic. Portal to Phyrexia is a mythic. Cityscape Leveler is a mythic. Nexus of Becoming is a mythic. And the Inner Sun is also a mythic too. Very, very expensive list, guys. So we got our basics, and then the rest of the lands are also rare, I believe, too. This is why I said, like, even though I think this list is pretty good. Oh, Scene of the Crime. It's just like one of those things that you probably want to put on the do not craft list, or if you have a lot of the cards, kind of substitute those cards out until we know where the meta settles to, because it's not always fun to like lose 5 games in a row. Like if the meta settles in a place where this deck just doesn't like compete at all, like yeah, that would feel pretty bad. Okay, guys, hey, enough rambling, huh? Oh, by the way, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Main reason to join up that Patreon is for the patron suggestions, which I always prioritize the patron suggestions before any other suggestions. So yeah, that's always fun. That's always nice. Alrighty, guys. Hey, I will see you in the next video.